The mind is everything. What you think, you become. The wise see that there is action in the midst of inaction and inaction in the midst of action. Their consciousness is unified, and every act is done with complete awareness. One who has control over the mind is tranquil in heat and cold, in pleasure and pain, and in honor and dishonor, and is ever steadfast with the Supreme Self. It is better to perform one's own duties imperfectly than to master the duties of another. By fulfilling the obligations he is born with, a person never comes to grief. Yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. The only way to happiness is through self-realization. The mind is the key to everything. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. One who has control over the mind is tranquil in heat and cold, in pleasure and pain, and in honor and dishonor, and is ever steadfast with the Supreme Self. Yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, to the self. When meditation is mastered, the mind is unwavering like the flame of a lamp in a windless place. The happiness which comes from long practice, which leads to the end of suffering, which at first is like poison, but at last like nectar, this kind of happiness arises from the serenity of one's own mind. The one who is willing to accept discipline is free. The true nature of action is hard to understand. Therefore, one should know the nature of attached action, the nature of detached action, and also the nature of prohibited action. The self-controlled soul, who moves amongst sense objects, free from either attachment or repulsion, he wins eternal peace. He who has let go of hatred, who treats all beings with kindness and compassion, who is always serene, unmoved by pain or pleasure, free of the I and mine, self-controlled, firm and patient, his whole mind focused on me, that is the man I love best. Perform your duty, but do not be attached to the fruits of your actions. The ultimate purpose of yoga is to always observe things accurately, and therefore never act in a way that will make us regret our actions later. For one who has conquered the mind is the best of friends, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. The senses are higher than the body, the mind higher than the senses, above the mind is the intellect, and above the intellect is the Atman. There is neither this world nor the world beyond nor happiness for the one who doubts. Those who are motivated only by desire for the fruits of action are miserable, for they are constantly anxious about the results of what they do. The soul that is not attached to external pleasures or internal enjoyments and is self-luminous, finds absolute peace. The disciplined self-controlled man, moving among objects with the senses under restraint, and free from attraction and repulsion, attains peace. A gift is pure when it is given from the heart to the right person at the right time and place, and when we expect nothing in return. The power of God is with you at all times, through the activities of mind, senses, breathing, and emotions, and is constantly doing all the work using you as a mere instrument. Better indeed is knowledge than mechanical practice. Better than knowledge is meditation. But better still is surrender of attachment to results, because there follows immediate peace. The self is dearer than the body. The welfare of the self is dearer than the welfare of the body. The knowledge of the self is dearer than the knowledge of anything else. The man who sees me in everything and everything within me will not be lost to me, nor will I ever be lost to him. The peace of God is with them whose mind and soul are in harmony, who are free from desire and wrath, who know their own soul. The Lord is the source and support of all beings. Everything emanates from Him, and everything merges into Him. The mind is the friend of the one who has control over it, and the mind acts like an enemy for those who do not control it.